Hello again. I want to talk about the love bombing phase of narcissistic abuse. When narcissists are in the love bombing phase, majority of narcissists are not self-aware. So they don't know that they're in the love bombing phase. They don't know they go through phases. So for them, they live in a fantasy world. So when they are love bombing someone, they are going after their fantasy. And if they've selected an individual that they've decided to go after, they've decided that that person is their fantasy woman. And they, in their mind, are the superhero. And you are their fantasy object. You are not a real person. You are the fantasy object that they've built up in their mind, and they are the superhero, and you are supposed to worship them, and they are going to go after you with a vengeance. We will be set up by this because we're conditioned as girls and women, and I watched this with my 3-year-old granddaughter, going to Disney by the princesses, she's only 3, and by our movies and etc. They will inundate you with phone calls, flowers, so much attention, and put you on a pedestal and literally sweep you off your feet. And it's hard not to fall for this. And it's because they're not going after you as the real person that you are, but this built up image that they have of you in their minds. And in their minds, you are going to make their lives wonderful and perfect because they're living in a fantasy world. And that world revolves around them. And they're the superhero. And you're just their little accessory. But the narcissist is very good at this because they have been working their manipulations and their charms their whole life. And so that's why they're so good at it. And what happens then later on when they go after you with a vengeance because they want to secure you, because for them everything's about winning and you're the object of their desire because they've decided you're highly desirable. They want you, you're an object, and they're going to win you over. And they think you're going to add value to their life, and their life's going to be wonderful with you. What happens later on, if they've been successful and won you over and you think you have just this most wonderful man, you're head over heels in love, what happens is suddenly you become human, a person, and they discover you're human and a person, and you might have a thought that is your own, or a want, or a desire that is contrary to them, and that is going to highly displease them, because what happens is that takes them out of their fantasy world. And anything that takes a narcissist out of their fantasy world is going to trigger the narcissist anger or rage because they want to live in their fantasy world. And anything that takes them out of their fantasy world and triggers that anger or rage, that can't be their fault. There has to be somebody else to blame. And so that's where they're going to start devaluing you and blaming you because that's what they do. They blame the other person, and that's where the abuse and devaluation starts happening. And that is why it starts happening. And that's where the end of the love bombing phase ends and the beginning of the devaluation phase begins, and where people who have no idea what had happened or why it happened and don't know what's going on and don't understand, because they thought they had married a normal human being that thought the same way they thought. They thought the person that they married or that they were dating was a person that thought the same way they did. And they did not understand that this person doesn't have the same thought processes that you do, that they don't possess empathy like you do, and you're really married almost to an alien being. So that's the hard thing to wrap your head around and really understand. And I have to admit, for myself, it took me, I didn't know that for very many years. So anyway, that is my take on love bombing and going from love bombing to devaluation. So please subscribe to my channel and leave any comments you might have had below with your experiences with this. Thank you.